Kenyans living in London, William Ruto bought 6 Boeing 747 airplanes
Where?
that are insured by Lloyd's of London. I'm not speaking in vanity. The person who told me he himself is a billionaire and he lives in London, so he knows what he's talking about. That guy bought 6 Boeings to start an airline. The people living in London, if you have connections with Lloyd's of London Insurance, you need to find out, we need to identify those planes very quickly. Because some of the state assets that are being sold in Kenya, you heard about the privatization bill that was being brought. That was William Ruto and his friends trying to buy state corporations. They want to own Kenya Meat Commission, Kenya Airports Authority. They want to buy in. When the Gen Z protest failed in Nairobi on Nane Nane, the first rally that William Ruto held was not in the city because the people in the city are too wise. He went to villagers because those are the ones he can lie to. For the first time, I have gone to villages, Ikumbi, Kigundu Road in Muranga, Kigumo, and I've touched the heart of a Mnyanya of 70 years. You know, I was being told today when I was at the airport, somebody told me, my grandmother listens to your videos. And I was like, wow, how old is your grandmother? He says, she's 72. I said, oh, she's listening. Yes. Then I said, then Kenya is about to change. I have border people listening to my videos. I landed in Meru. I wanted to go to Isiolo. And while I was at Meru at a stage, border people were showing me pictures, videos that they follow me on TikTok, and they are listening and watching. I went to Isiolo, and you should see the faces of Mama Mboga over there. They've been sending me 10 bob, 40 bob, 50 bob. Those Mama Mbogas in Isiolo, they were absolutely excited. They didn't even think I'll come to Isiolo. When I mentioned their mortuary, they almost screamed. Hao ni Mama Mboga kwa soko, waliacha kuuza. Walisema leo hata hatuna haja ya kuuzia watu. We don't even want to make that money ya leo. Kama umekuja sasa, I even asked the public while on the mic, mko na haraka, niende? They said no, usiende, tueleze maneno. People are listening.
Yes.
And the people that we want to listen are the ones that are listening. And that is the most beautiful thing that has ever happened. Mama Mbogas are listening, border people are listening, villagers are listening, because these people make up 75% of the vote base. When the Gen Z protest failed in Nairobi on Nane Nane, the first rally that William Ruto held was not in the city, because the people in the city are too wise. He went to villagers because those are the ones he can lie to. So therefore, I want to thank you for your contributions. That $10 you're giving, that $20, that $50, I want to assure you that that money is going to go to civic education. And in fact, one of the first things I need will be an office, because now I have whistleblowers bringing me documents from inside government. I have meetings with high-level government officials. For example, on Tuesday, I have a meeting with the Canadian High Commissioner. So for that reason, where I've reached now, I can no longer operate as just some civic educator or just some online personality. I've now to start rebranding myself into a youthful leader who can actually bring transformational change. And we need to start thinking about converting our activism into political action. I loved it when you began by saying, how do we convert all this activism into political action? The government is very happy when we remain leaderless, when we remain formless, because that means they can continue stealing without caring, because they'll dismiss us and say, those are some activists and content creators. They are worried when we start now taking political action, because politicians didn't expect competition. They knew that they've already created a solid system where they've commercialized the politics in Kenya. The politics now is about money, and they are the ones who have stolen the highest amount of money, and therefore they are the only ones who have the capability of being elected. But we are changing the game. Initially, it was politicians giving people money. I am now preaching a new gospel where it is citizens giving politicians money. When they want you to be their leader, they identify you, they groom you, they package you, they open a pay bill, they contribute 10 shillings, 20 shillings, 5,000, 2,000, and they make you their leader. So from that day, you should know that they own you. But these other leaders, they've been stealing public funds, and they come and campaign. Then they continue stealing from the Kenyans in the name of narudisha pesa ya campaign. Ama natafuta pesa ya campaign next. So that is the situation of our politics in Kenya. And I hope that the diaspora can find their place to plug in, not just in terms of plugging in terms of providing resources, but also in terms of providing civic education. You know, sometimes we do so little and we think that it is little. Let me tell you, you who is listening to me, who is in the diaspora, kupiga simu kwa mama nyumbani, kumwelezea mambo ya ufisadi na mambo ya uongozi mbaya, you've already made a step in the right direction. In fact, you've already done so much. Because if everybody talks to their parents, can you imagine how many people will be able to reach? If you talk to your siblings, can you imagine how far we'll go? If you share material that is supposed to educate people about bad governance on your family WhatsApp groups, do you know how much people will reach? So the first thing is taking personal initiative. The second is being there for providing the resources. Thirdly, you can come and be present and participate. Fourth, you can pile pressure on the institutions that provide funding to the Kenyan government or that can keep the Kenyan government to account. If you provide pressure to them, that pressure can assist. The fifth thing that I want the diaspora to do is identify assets that corrupt Kenyan politicians are buying abroad. I challenged the people who are living in London. What were London? I told them, read the Auditor General's report. We paid 1.6 billion to buy the Chancery building in London, the embassy building in London. We paid 1.6 billion to buy it in financial year 2022-2023 and 2023-2024. Where is the building? Yet we are paying up to 60 million shillings in rent per year. Ilienda wapi? And I asked the people of London to check. They checked on the website. They realized that we are still leasing the building. We don't own it. So that's something they can check for me. Kenyans living in Pakistan, Islamabad, they can check where 486 million went, which was supposed to build the ambassador's residence. 486 million has already been spent. The contractor has already been paid all the money. Is the ambassador's residence there in Islamabad? And I dare you, it's not there. Kenyans living in London, William Ruto bought 6 Boeing 747 airplanes.
Where?
That are insured by Lloyd's of London. I'm not speaking in vanity. The person who told me he himself is a billionaire and he lives in London. So he knows what he's talking about. That guy bought 6 Boeings to start an airline. The people living in London, if you have connections with Lloyd's of London Insurance, you need to find out, we need to identify those planes very quickly. Because some of the state assets that are being sold in Kenya, you heard about the privatization bill that was being brought. That was William Ruto and his friends trying to buy state corporations. They want to own the Kenya Meat Commission, Kenya Airports Authority. They want to buy in because they have so much cash abroad. Where do they want them to spend it? They don't want to spend it abroad. They want to buy things at home. That's why they want to privatize government parastatals. So I need people in the diaspora to help us identify. Then the other thing is most of the people that are abroad have also great expertise and professional excellence. Some of them are the best IT minds that we have in the world. They've just escaped a very corrupt system in Kenya and went to look for other opportunities abroad. We have some of the best accountants living and working in the US and other countries. We have some of the best engineers living abroad. We have, some of the best marketing and public communications experts. We would like you to plug in on this and provide your professional expertise towards making Kenya a better place. So we will need that professional knowledge and expertise and research in terms of also identifying poor workmanship in infrastructural projects, being able to audit government books, because sometimes we receive so much information, it is in form of financial statements and Excel sheets, and we are unable to analyze it because we don't have the financial capacity to hire researchers on a permanent basis or on a good contract. So because of that, you can also plug in by being a volunteer and, just saying, whenever you have something in this line, give it to me, nitakuchambulia haraka haraka. So those are some of my ideas on how the diaspora can plug in.